You lot was talking like you lot are part of the big boys because you finished fourth a couple of times or in the top four.
Again, let's get facts straight, okay? Let's get the facts straight. This is why I'm going to win this debate, okay? Because I'm fantastic and huge, and you're not.
Joe presents In Defence Of, brought to you by Betball. Yes, people, welcome to In Defence Of, brought to you by Joe and Betball with me, Stevo the Madman. Now, as always, one of my friends is coming over to my gaff to discuss a football topic they feel passionate about. Coming up to the away end today is a guy that goes by the name Majestic, but I know him as plain old Kev. Coming to the stage, my friend, Majestic! Yes, G, you good?
How are we, brother?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
You're looking like Britney Spears with that headset on.
It's mad,
oh,
innit?
baby, baby.
Oops, I've done that again.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, all of that. How you been?
Yeah, good. Good start to the year, apart from Spurs.
I was just going to say that, because you are a passionate Spurs fan, and when Spurs are losing, you're not too great. That's like me and my West Ham.
I have a Spurs podcast. Like that's how much I love Spurs. Just like the podcast name, Same Old Spurs. It's it's the same old Spurs at the minute. But I love my club, like you love your West Ham.
Love my West
through
Ham,
thick
bro.
and thin.
Yes.
So we will fight to the end and defend our clubs.
So, Majestic Madge, why have you come over to my gaff today? What do you want to discuss?
I want to discuss today that there is a media bias against Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Wow. A Tottenham fan that is upset with the bias that their club is getting. I've never heard this before.
Against us.
Bro, you know what? I like to set up the arguments in a professional manner. So you're going to get up to 60 seconds on the podium to bring over your points. I'll get 60 seconds. We come back. We hash it out because a media bias against Spurs.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's do this.
I believe that there is a media bias / agenda against Tottenham Hotspur for these reasons, and these reasons alone. First and foremost, the term Spursy, the bottlers. You know, Tottenham Hotspur have been to finals and semi-finals in recent history, which is a good achievement in some aspects. But of course, if you don't get over the line, it's quite upsetting. But the term Spursy, when you look at the way other clubs are treated, for example, Liverpool, they bottled the league when Steven Gerrard slipped, but they weren't called bottlejobs, it's not called Liverpool League. Newcastle, the entertainers, there was a programme made about how great they were, even though they lost a 12-point lead against Manchester United in the season that they bottled the Premier League, but they're called the entertainers. If you also look at the way that some of our players are almost poached in the media, the press, there was a whole programme made with Harry Kane and Gary Neville around a golf club, which was almost like an advert for Harry Kane services. And then also, if you look at the way sometimes we're not welcome towards the party, the way Tottenham are talked about in certain instances in the press.
Majestic, my friend, plain old Kev, you made some good points, but here's why I think you are wrong. Start the clock. An unfair bias towards your club. I don't see it, mate. I don't see it. In fact, I'll tell you what I do see. I see your ex-players all over the screens, whether they be on Match of the Day with Gary Lineker, you've got Glenn Hoddle, you've got Jermaine Jenas, you've got Peter Crouch, you've got Robbie Keane. Anytime they speak about Spurs, it's in good light. Yeah, especially Michael Dawson. Yeah, let me tell you about that one. I remember when Jose Mourinho was top of the league in December. Everyone was saying Spurs were going to win the league. Again, very, very positive. Plus, getting criticism, that comes with being a big club. And you guys claim you are a big club, so take it. Just like Liverpool take it when they had a dip when they got players injured last season. Just like Chelsea take it for years. Just like Manchester United have taken it raw since Alex Ferguson has left. And not only that, the smaller clubs, they hardly ever get talking about, bro. But listen, let's talk about it.
So we could start with the definition of a bias / agenda is where I'm coming at the angle was. And there was one particular thing, you're laughing, but there's one particular thing that got me onto this. And I thought when I saw the Newcastle documentary, the Newcastle Entertainers. Now, Newcastle Football Club, I love Newcastle. I love playing there as a DJ. I love going up there, great people. And that club is part of their town. It's in the centre of the town. It's fantastic, yeah? But when Newcastle flopped and didn't win the Premier League, they're called the Entertainers, right? We have an apparent title challenge and we came third in a 2-horse race. And then also in a league when Chelsea just run away with the league, literally from about October, November, again, we flopped. So when I'm seeing a media bias is when I'm seeing Newcastle getting applauded as the entertainers, yet we're Spursy and we're bottle jobs.
Newcastle have been getting a horrible stuff said to them recently with the takeover and all of that, with Eddie Howe, with the geezer that just signed Woodsy. Like, they've been getting battered. But because...
No, a lot of people have said they want to oh yeah, let's hope Newcastle can buy who they want. People like Newcastle as a club.
Again, when Newcastle was on that run that you're talking about with Kevin Keegan,
I'd love it if we beat them.
Yes, that time the whole club was more humble than what Spurs were when they was on their run. So I think for me, it doesn't come to the fact that Spurs get to the final hurdle, then they bottle it or whatever. It's not bottling, you're going for it and you lose, right? But it's the fans. You lot was talking like you lot are part of the big boys because you finished fourth a couple of times or in the top four.
Again, let's get facts straight, okay? Let's get the facts straight. This is why I'm going to win this debate, okay? Because I'm fantastic and huge and you're not. We are the 6th most successful club in UK domestic history. That's factual, yeah? So when you say big 6, to try and sit with the big boys, we are. The way that, like I said, Everton and Villa are big boys, yeah?
I'm here for this.
Right? So they are underachieving because they're the 7th and the 8th. They should be winning. Everton, for example, haven't won anything since 1995. FA Cup, fantastic header against Man United. This is it. But with Tottenham, Spursy, flop, you've not won, I think, in ages. Everyone laughing at
You're the 6th most successful club in UK, right, in the UK. So the criticism you are getting when you flop is justified. And my second point I would make is that you got the likes of Jermaine Jenas, even Robbie Keane now, Glenn Hoddle. You got all these ex-Spurs that are all over the net and TV, and they're very, very biased, positively biased.
I think
towards
JJ
Spurs.
is probably the most positive, and big up JJ for that.
Michael Dawson, he goes on like your team is the Man United during the 90s. Like, he's a bit lost, that geezer. I like him.
He's only just got on.
I like his energy.
Bless him.
For me, that's not unfair.
Listen.
Yeah, you know. Gotcha.
You've not got me at all.
Yeah?
Right? Okay, yeah, just because there's some people sometimes, being a bit more pro-Spurs. JJ's probably the most pro-Spurs. Crouchy might be on TV, for example, but you look at him as a Liverpool player and you look at him as Crouch as an entity as himself rather than this massive Spurs thing.
He doesn't criticise, but this is the point. Even if they're
But
pro,
okay,
they might not be pro, they don't criticise.
You go like Gary Neville and Roy Keane sitting there, it's just Spurs. All they do was flop, Spursy. Like, it's almost like they lead this agenda. Yeah, okay, that might have been their thing that they said in the dressing room to beat Spurs. Come on, lads, it's only Tottenham. But the way that they push that into the media is like diminishing the value of what Tottenham Hotspur...
That's a part of football, though, like the winding up. I reckon they're winding up, ain't they?
Yeah,
surely.
okay, but then there's winding up, and then there's also going out and creating programmes with Gary Neville to take your best player away, which was just like a complete circus.
Madge, Kev, my brother, there's been a lot of complaining from Spurs fans for years, man. For years, and as I was going to say, let me finish this point. When you lot was doing well, we were giving you all of the plaudits, bro. You were crazy. Gareth Bale, we were saying, was best in the world.
You weren't saying that Upton Park when he got that last goal.
Well, he got 2. I went to Upton Park, he got 2 goals, but top bins, didn't do nothing. But he was, and we give you that. You had Modric, Robbie Keane, your 2 fullbacks going on when you got under Poch. They was all in England. Yeah, but they was the nucleus of the England team.
The media give them all the plaudits. They go, they've got to go away from Tottenham. I'm quite a spiritual person. You put energy out into the universe and it comes back. They put the energy out there. You've got to go. They've all got to go. Every time Spurs come a little bit closer to becoming better, then this media bias that I talk about, try and disrupt it and go, leave. You don't all need to leave. So I just think like this thing that, and it's almost like the energy is projected. They're waiting for Tottenham to fail and almost like they're wanting it to. And that's where the agenda for me feels it comes from.
You know what it is, brother? It seems to me like you lot want to be a big club, but you don't want to get the criticism that a big club gets because it comes with it. Look at United. Over the years, they've been a laughing stock.
With Manchester United, there's a level of expectation. They are one of the biggest clubs in the world. Yes. That's factual. And no football fan can argue with that. And they should be competing at the highest level. I looked at their squad this year and thought they were going to go for the league.
Me too.
Yeah, I thought most of us did. But what happens with United is if it goes well for them in one game, it all changes.
Yeah.
Like, for example, they beat Burnley 3-1. Big respect to Burnley. Yeah, big Aaron Lennon as well scoring. I love that.
Unfair bias there to Burnley.
Yeah, right. Dicey won't have it. Listen, I eat nails every day for breakfast. Right. So the thing is, they won that game was like, I see Manchester United 100% getting top 4. I'm like, based on what? They beat Burnley. Like 3-1 at home. So you should beat Burnley. You're Man United.
Start of the season, Arsenal fans were getting it.
When they lost to Brentford, etc.
They lost to Brentford. They were getting it. In fact, they've been getting it for years, right?
A lot of memes going around at the bottom of the table and all that.
And now the Jet Black Prince, Arteta, has pulled it together and they're looking like a proper team. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to take the rough with the smooth. He's getting praised now. They're saying he's Pep reincarnated. At the start of the season, he was shocking.
Arsenal, in fairness, have received a lot of criticism post-Wenger.
I think deservedly, to be honest with you. Like, again, for me, it's the fan bases that create this mess. When West Ham was doing well a few years back with Slav,
yes,
and then we started setting up, there's a lot more podcasts come out. You saw the West Ham fans, bloody hell. Glad those channels got taken down. But anyway, we started getting criticism because we thought we was a bit Billy Big Bollocks, you know what I mean? So we've quietened down. We understand who we are. We understand we've got the best midfielder in the world right now in Declan Rice.
He's very good.
Amazing. But we understand he can get taken from us.
But brilliant point to bring up Declan Rice, yeah? There isn't this huge media agenda against West Ham at the moment to go, Declan Rice, if he wants to, his career wants to move on,
There's loads of that, mate.
That's not every...
West Ham fans, please, in the comments, come on, man.
Right, no, West Ham fans will get in on the comments, I can see, and they'll be like, yeah, because you're tapped in, yeah? Because we're tapped into our clubs, we can feel everything a lot more, yeah? But it isn't, like, at the end of the game, when you go and, like, beat Norwich or someone, no one sits there going, it's brilliant for Declan Rice, but, you know, he should be looking for the move.
You know what? Once again, Spurs has dominated the chat because they're a big club. But I want to talk about the smaller clubs, like that I feel do well, like the Brentfords, doing okay. But even if they're not doing well, just the smaller clubs, do you have to do super well to get some sort of praise or some sort of press?
How many people are talking about Brighton? A lot. A lot of people are talking about Brighton.
Not enough.
Well, enough.
Not enough. What are they? 8th, 9th?
Yeah, enough that people are looking at Graham Potter and going, hang about, this is a top manager here. And people are looking at him and going...
They're saying they're going to take Graham Potter.
Yeah, okay.
Same like we've done with Harry Kane, same like we're doing with Declan Rice as a part of football. But the smaller clubs that haven't got a Daniel Levy that can say, well, you ain't going nowhere, their players get gone, bruv.
I think we're seeing that less now in the Premier League. I think that's because the financial situation is changing and other clubs are competing, you know. You know, look you say about smaller clubs, for example, like Crystal Palace, for example, you know, I think under Vieira, I think they're going to be able to grow. And I think there's something to be said about just moving in silence is actually a good thing.
So most teams, all teams are guaranteed a 12 million. But if you're one of the top teams, you can get up to 30 million, which is like 18 million more than the other teams. Plus the media coverage, the extra media coverage. Usually when Norwich or someone like that's in the media, it's because they've been thumped 6-0. You see when you do brand deals, when the brands link up with teams, it's not usually Norwich or Crystal Palace or these smaller teams, so fans don't get to see their players as much.
Go to the Spanish League and ask how the smaller teams are feeling out there, because I tell you what, in comparison, the Premier League's pretty fair.
I remember after 5 games this season, poor old Norwich, they weren't doing too well, and the press writ them off, said they're getting relegated with 33 games to go. Now, you know in football, it ain't over till it's over, right? Is that not unfair?
Well, I think with Norwich, it's a case that because they've been bouncing up and down the league for the last few years, and you look at the business that they did in the summer, selling Buendia, you know, they had Oliver Skip on loan from us. They moved into the Premier League and hadn't improved. So within 5 games, when they start losing in the fashion that they were, you could say that was justified to a degree because they're not kicking on, right? And okay, and with Norwich, it's like, well, you've come into the Premier League. It's just like that's their sort of business model to come up and down. And so they were criticised, unjustly, because there's 33 games to go. There's a lot, but I think that was like with Norwich, it's like it's negative, but that's their talking point on Norwich at that point in time, because it's just like, hang about, we've seen this before. It's going to happen again.
Stop.
Spurs,
exactly.
Right? Spursy,
same thing.
Okay. However,
you get to a certain level, then it's like, you know what, Spurs, go and buy that striker, go and spend 100 million, or not that much back then, but then you get rid of Kyle Walker, you get rid of your other fullback. Like
again, then this brings us back to the media bias of we're getting to a point where, hang about, we're going to become quite dangerous here. We might be sitting at the top 6 table properly. No, he needs to leave that club. If they want to get better, he needs to go.
Something will happen with your team, whether it be a loss, a player walking around the golf course, lasagna, whatever it is, and you'll always have to exaggerate. Oh, they're saying this because no one wants us in the party. Bro, just start winning, start getting some trophies, start showing us you can compete consistently, and it will drop. The bias will drop, if there is any. For me, the criticism Spurs gets is just. You know what I mean? They're a top 4 team, as you said to me. They're the 6th most successful team in the Premier League history.
UK domestic.
UK domestic. So for me, the criticism is just, so yeah, today, mate, you have not changed my mind. In fact, I've got some advice for you. And that, my friend, is toughen up. Trust me, not you, because you're tough, bruv. But the Spurs fans, toughen up. But anyway, as always, I want to hear what the people in the comments have to say. Do you think Majestic's correct? Is there an unfair bias towards Tottenham Hotspurs, or should they just toughen up? Leave your comments below. As always, this has been In Defence Of, with me, Stevo the Madman, brought to you by Joe and Betball with Majestic. Until next time, you've been watching In Defence Of, brought to you by Joe and Betball.